sustainable value chain is not just about the profits, it's about creating shared value for producers, consumers, and the planet. So today, this series, which is Krishi Digdarshan, brings top industry leaders to guide agriculture students across India. Each session is a step towards discovering new possibilities in agri and allied elite sectors, and all active participants will receive e-certificate to boost their career profile. Before we begin today's session, I would like to take the opportunity to invite our visionary founder and promoter of ISAB, Mr. Saurabh B. Pandey, sir, to share a few words and set the tone for the expert talk. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, thanks, Shweta. And I think it's a great day where I think uh, the topic is very apt, and we have a perfect speaker for the today's talk where we are kind of blessed to receive his guidance and direction since inception, I would say. Even during the COVID time when when we were starting the online classes and all that time, Shyam sir was there. Um, He's not only my alumni from IIM Ahmedabad, he's also kind of acting as a mentor. And step by step, we have received his guidance very actively for the entire ISAB journey. And the systems and values and the style that they are operating, the DeHaat, I was monitoring very closely. You are all aware that DeHaat is a very successful company now. I think it's not be a good to say a startup now. It's one of the emerging leader in tech sector and doing fantastic in Indian market. And I think soon they're exploring the international territories as well. So I think there's a great learning from the entire ecosystem from this particular company, and I would request everybody to be very attentive what sir is sharing, the every data, the every information. And at the end of the day, after the session, you can also ask your queries about this entire ecosystem journey. And if you have anything regarding the career opportunities in this sector, especially in DeHaat and related firms, so I think this is the best platform where you are getting a live guidance from an eminent speaker. So that's all from my side. Over to you, Shweta.
Thank you so very much, sir. We are truly honored to have with us Mr. Shyam Sundar, sir, who is the co-founder of DeHaat, and he has played a very important role in transforming the agri-business landscape in India by empowering farmers through technology-driven solution and sustainable value chain. He brings deep insight into building efficient, inclusive, and environmental responsible agri-value chains. DeHaat was founded in the year 2012, is one of the India's fastest growing agri-tech startups, providing end-to-end agricultural services to the farmer, including access to the quality inputs, customized advisories, credits, and market linkages. Now, I would request sir to kindly share your valuable insight with us. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Sarah, and thank you, Professor Shweta. So it had always been a pleasure to interact with ISAB students in general, right? In particular, I have been to the campus. I have seen the journey for the last 4 or 5 years, and it had been fantastic. I think you are on the way to become one of the premier institutions, especially in agribusiness, which is very much required, right? The kind of I would tell you a journey. And people ask that what had been one of the difficult or most difficult challenges in our journey of last 13 years. And one of that problem statement was that having talent in this sector, right? Agri-tech, it's one of the sectors in the today's world which has started very late, right? The traction has started very little, and it's not more than like 5-6 years old. So having right kind of talent who are ready, who are smart, who are prepared, who have the intention to build career in agri particularly, right? That's been something which had been lacking in this sector. And now that things have changed a lot, and I'm sure that many of you would emerge to be leaders among this sector, right? So I think the way that I would like to take this session and would welcome your questions and any queries that you have is around giving you an understanding of how agri value chain looks like, right? And what is the and where are we all positioned, right? Where are the farmers in that value chain, and how we are building solutions or trying to build a solution which can work for all, which can create sustainable and long-term incentives for all of us, right? So India, of course, agriculture is huge in India. And, if you take any parameter, if you take any number, it's huge. And it's not just huge, it's also very varied. India has so many different agroclimatic zones, right? Very different agroclimatic zones. In a country like India, it has so many different crops because of these agroclimatic zones. And then from farmers' perspective, there are like different demographic profile of farmers. Like all different kind of farmers are there. No single problem statement defines all kind of farmers or opportunities. There are opportunities everywhere, problems everywhere to solve. So all of us are getting into that direction, that which problem statements to choose and where shall we build our solution, right? Just to introduce DeHaat, so our positioning had been that for us, we will go with a crop agnostic model, but focused around farmers. That, okay, around a farmer, what are the value chain gaps, you can say, or opportunities, you can say, around which we want to build our solution for the entire, you can say, life cycle or crop cycle. Whether it is agri input, whether it is all kind of pre-harvest services or post-harvest. That's the way that we have progressed, and gradually we got that strength that, okay, not just farmer, but let's focus around crops. That if we are working on a crop, what all can we do in the value chain of that particular crop? Like, to give you an example, something like, say, a very interesting crop like makhana. Okay, it's a crop which is grown in primarily in Bihar, and we had started from there. So in makhana value chain, we started with trading of makhana. Then we started doing warehousing of makhana, primary processing, secondary processing. Now we have our own brand of makhana. We are also assisting makhana farmers with right kind of spraying, right kind of field management. We are doing financing of makhana buyers. So we will do export for makhana. So there are so many different opportunities which can be found if you are looking at value chain, crop value chain from the perspective that, okay, let's see what are the gaps and where we can differentiate. So I think the kind of differentiation which brings to the table, right? Those are the players who are becoming like successful in this sector. How is this industry, um, how is this industry basically based right now? How are we structured? So if you look at this industry, right, there are like pre-harvest phase where there are like all kind of agri input providers, seeds, fertilizers, crop care like crop protection, crop nutrition. Those are the input providers. Especially even, and same farmers are also doing cattle and some allied services. So cattle feed, cattle nutrition, all these are input providers, and a lot of us are based in that category, right? Then there are companies who are doing advisory, right? Weather advisory, crop advisory, soil advisory, all such kind of advisory, and that companies are doing. Then on the post-harvest side, there are companies which are just doing crop quality measurement, right? Some are in storage management, like warehouse service providers. Some are in logistics, just providing logistic services, right? In between these two, then there are financial services providers, those who are providing loan, insurance, then insurance providers and loan providers, right? So there are many companies who are focused towards that particular segment. Then there are players who are providing equipments. So small equipment, large equipment leasing, custom hiring centers, and then advanced equipments like IoT-based devices or drone-based solutions or smart farming equipments. So there is a one particular solutioning which is happening there. And then at the end of the value chain, there are like distribution and retail companies, right? Either they are distributing in bulk, in domestic or in export markets, or doing the retail, right, in both markets. This is how the entire value chain is structured right now in agri and agri tech in particular, right? And then players like us, or who are integrated value chain player, who are either building many of these things on our own. Like for us, these are like agri input, advisory, and distribution. These are the things that we build our own. And for others, we partner with the companies who are providing that. It's a sector where a lot of collaboration activities happen, right? So that's how this entire sector is distributed, right? Now, in this approach, right, in this value chain approach, when you look at any company, right, how are they ensuring that there is a value which is getting created by them, right? At the end of the day, all of us, right, went to this sector because of some problem statement. Problem statements are that there are like too many middlemen in agri value chain, right? So how we can basically ensure that those middlemen who are not adding any value to the value chain, right, who are not adding anything but just changing hand or like delaying the overall perishability of the products, right, we wanted to eliminate them, right? That's how that's where we have started, and that had been the process of evolution, right? How we can get closer to farmers. Everyone aims towards that, right? Let's build solution which can directly reach to farmers. So I'll keep this as generic, like the evolution which had happened, and we had been lucky in a way that when we have started in the last, I would say, a decade or so, especially in the last 5 odd years, a lot of things have happened. There were two other problems with agriculture, right? One is around the infrastructure, right? Roads, warehousing. There is a lot of infrastructure challenges which are there. But I guess as a country, we have progressed a lot in these, right? There is at least on the transport, there are like significant improvements which had happened. And second was around a digital penetration, considering the literacy and multi-language problem, right? India has so many different languages and dialects, right? Reaching directly to farmer, both from communication and delivery, that had been a major challenge. And again, I would say that we had been fortunate that we live in that era where these macro have evolved a lot, especially post-COVID. Digital penetration in rural areas has significantly improved. And all of us are now in a position to leverage that, right? Lot of the credit goes towards how the overall macro has changed, which is impacting positively to the sector. So, we often talk about the challenges, and I often say that more than challenges, Indian agriculture has huge opportunities, right? Huge opportunity. There's a lot of positivity. There are so many different things that we all have to do. I want to keep this side to all of you, because the one takeaway, if I would like to have from all of you, is that you should feel excited to build a career in agri, right? Ek zamana tha when everyone wanted to build a career in IT, right? Everyone wanted to build a career in IT. Now we want to bring that revolution, and that is possible only when we talk to students like you who are now going to build careers, right? That how excited you can be that you have to spend your entire career in agri and build something huge. Why I'm saying that, another aspect is that so the way that we have grown, right? There are two focus areas that we have now, and I'll talk about one first and then the other one. And the other one, where I will touch the sustainability part. First one, I will touch the value chain part. So if you look at data, Indian food, right, is gaining significant traction in global food and global trade. There is again, and that's again, the credit goes to everyone in the ecosystem and government and everyone, right? That now there is a strong traction of Indian food across multiple geographies, especially in Europe, in US, in developed market as well as developing market, Middle East and North Africa, and Southeast Asia, everywhere. So we have also focused towards building our distribution network in export markets. Currently, we are exporting our products to more than 35 countries, and hopefully it will continue to grow. There are multiple different categories through which we have entered. And we are not just alone, right? The entire ecosystem is moving towards that direction. Now, why it is important and why it is going to be game changing is that when you are talking about global food requirements, right, we need to ensure a significantly improved quality of food, and we need to ensure a significantly improved supply chain so that the products can reach to desired ports, right? Whichever mode of transport they are going. Sorry. Plus, we also need to ensure that a lot of value addition is happening within the country. Hence, a lot of focus is also on the processing, food processing side, right? Primary processing, secondary processing, tertiary processing, packaging, sorting, grading, everything, right? So, food processing, supply chain, and quality, all these three are getting improved because of that particular push on ensuring that Indian food is reaching to global markets, right? And you would see that there is a significant traction which are happening. And as an organization, if you will see that where our investments, our efforts are going to be for the next 10 years, and those 10 years are going to be a building block for your career also, that's where it is going to be, right? Ensuring that Indian farmers are growing food and we have the overall supply chain to take care of that to make it reach to global markets. So that's number one. And the other factor, so then we are talking about how we can ensure that we are growing right kind of food in our fields. That's where the another part of sustainability comes. How we can ensure that we have right inputs that we are using, right? Right inputs, which mean, of course, yield, but also quality, which means that investment into seeds, good quality seeds, seeds which are resistant to climate changes, right? Drought resistant, flood resistant, salinity resistant, right? All those basically seeds which can wither all the, you can see all the macro challenges in terms of climate which is happening there, right? So that's where that is another focus area for us. Then we talked about seeds. Then growing these crops also need crop care products. And in crop care, there is a definite shift or at least increased uses from chemicals to biologicals, right? Biologicals which can ensure that soil quality gets improved. Do you know, I will tell you a fact, right? More than like 50 years or 60 years back, India's organic carbon content in soil was roughly around 2.5%, which is very good even for natural farming, right? That kind of organic carbon content. And I'm going to technical because when I talked, I have told to Saurabh also, right? When I talk to you all and when we take your interview, we would like you to have fundamentals cleared and an intention to also understand the technical of agriculture, right? Because it's so varied and having an interest towards knowing all these things helps. So that's why I'm talking some technicals also there. So the organic carbon content used to be 2.5%, which is very good for growing any crop. Okay. Our forefathers, many of you would be from villages. पहले इतना use नहीं होता था chemicals and all, and crop losses were not that much. Then gradually, with because of lot many different factors, now the organic carbon content has dropped down to, can you guess? Now it has dropped down to 0.3%.
Quite true.
Yeah. If you look at the organic carbon, soil organic carbon map, right, you will see all reds, right, in almost entire North India, all red, right? That's a terrible situation to be in. And that is one of the biggest marker or risk of sustainability of Indian farming. But then lot of us are moving and need to further invest in improving organic carbon content by improved use of biologicals and many such factors. But improved use of biological itself is one of the easiest way to improve that. Why? Because short term, it improves the overall nutrition, resistance, disease resistance, nutrition, all these capabilities of ensures growth of crop. And long term, it improves organic carbon content, which will keep impacting crop yield year on year, right, positively. So there is a very increased focus on biologicals by us also. A lot of our investments are going towards that direction. Investments include acquiring technologies, distributing those technological products to farmers, ensuring that farmers have a right kind of timely advisory around biologicals. So that's one direction in which we are doing a lot of investments, in which a lot of ecosystem providers are moving, right? There are other nuances of that, and once you will start gaining interest in that, you will know that even within that, what are the challenges. But overall, biologicals are still growing by 14-15% CAGR versus say chemicals, which are growing by like 8-10% of CAGR in India, right? So which is a marker, right? So that's another direction. In terms of other opportunities, so cattle is a big opportunity again, right? Cattle is a segment, of course, India is a country with almost, I think, second largest cattle population in the world, right? But still there is just so much of a scope, and there is so many of integrated solutions which can get built, like increased production of fodder, right? In a large areas, we have seen the last 2-3 years that farmers are growing significant fodder now to feed to cattle. And then on the cattle side also, a lot of improvements are happening. Better cattle care, good breeding, right? Better nutrition, all those things, capabilities are good. So that's another direction that we are gradually taking, is to provide, like we are providing right now complete solution around a crop. We are providing grain inputs, we are providing advisory, spraying, nutrition, insurance, loan, soil testing, all of these things we are doing around crop, right? And then of course market linkage. But with cattle also this needs to be done, and we are taking some direction toward that, providing feed for the cattle, providing nutrition products for cattle, providing medicinal products, advisory, insurance, cattle loan, everything, except in cattle we are not at least aiming to get into the milk trade, which is a very different direction. Except dairy, we are trying to do everything there, right? And ecosystem is also evolving from that direction. So cattle is again another thing. That's these things are there. Then there is a fourth thing, which I am sure that new age individuals like you would appreciate and will be very excited, right? Look, I'm trying to sell agri as a career to all of you. I want all of you to devote your life in building something in agri, right? So there is another very important aspect, right? I talked about digital penetration. Digital penetration in a way which had happened is that 5-6 years back, when I used to go to farmer meetings, and it always remains my first question, that how many of you are using smartphones? And that number used to be 20%, 30%, not more than that. Now in most geographies, 8-9 out of 10 farmers raise their hand and they carry their smartphone. If they are not using it full time, at least they are using half time, part time, by taking their son or someone else's, or at least there is one smartphone in the household. That has improved really a lot. That is one factor. But another factor which has improved is basically LLMs and basically Gen AI, right? The way we expect, we hope, and we pray Gen AI will transform the way that we communicate to farmers, to Indian farmers, is going to be revolutionary. And I hope many of you have the technological bent, right, to include that in your thought process when you build your careers, right? Why? I told you about literacy rate is low. There are multiple languages and dialects. And there is that the problem of timeliness, right? Advisory, no more than accuracy, timeliness matters. That okay, if I am a farmer, if I get to know in the morning at 5 o'clock that what I need to do today in a very simple, actionable language, right? That is my biggest change in terms of how I manage my crop. So that's another direction that things are moving, that with all these things, reaching directly to farmers with timely, actionable, and timely and actionable advisory with easy communication, right? With easy to understand communication is getting feasible, right? And that itself will create a lot of positivity. That itself will create a lot of opportunities for practitioners like us in this sector who are completely farm focused. See, saying farm focused doesn't mean that we have the ability and resources to reach to farmer, right? It's very difficult. It's not easy. If you will only rely on physical means, and if you will hope that you have built an app and farmers will come to the app and you start using that, it's not going to happen either way, right? But when these macro changes happen, we all become very hopeful that things are going to get very exciting. Okay, so that's what I will say in this, right? That we have spent 13 years now building this, but to us, it looks like next 10, 20 years are going to be even more exciting than what it had previously, right? There is just so much to do in agri. There are so many different crop value chains to, I would say transform, to use a big word, right? To get into those in the entire crop value chains. And then at the farmers level, there is so much to do in terms of improving and resource efficient agriculture. We talk about soil quality, ensuring that soil quality gets preserved, and ensuring that practices are built around that, ensuring that water challenges are everywhere. So you have those crops which can take care of all the weather challenges which are happening, or if there is a water scarcity, if there is a saline water, which is also happening a lot in a lot of places, right? And then clubbing all of those things, which are like risk mitigation strategy, to opportunities that okay, we are talking about global markets, so let's ensure, like for example, we have recently started exporting spices, right, to mostly to European markets, right, and also to African market. But in all of these markets, IPM spices are only preferred, which is, I don't know how many of you IPM is integrated pest management. It's a set of practices which farmers need to follow to ensure that their residue of chemicals remain minimal, right? Now, this means that there is a lot of work that we need to do in our farmers network with farmers to ensure that they are growing right kind of products. We can take them to global markets, and everyone, and I think what Shweta was asking, that how can everyone gets positively impacted. These are the two ways. One way, that you build those value added products, right, which can provide better margins in the entire value chain, and two, mitigate risk so that losses gets minimized, right? So both of these two parts are simultaneously happening in multiple value chains across multiple crops in multiple geographies. And it's very exciting for all of us to think and try and solve these problem statements, because it's also very lucrative, right? Every problem statement in agri in India is $1 billion problem statement. It's almost a 500, $600 billion industry, right? So whatever you are trying to do, right, you will know that it's a big opportunity. And if you will build, if you are anyway, we have taken a part in scaling that, right, it is going to be big. It is going to be big and it is going to be impactful, right? So from both these perspectives, this becomes very exciting for all of us, right? So that's where we are. As an organization, DeHaat has tried to keep this approach central to the way that we plan, we think, we function. And I guess for India, right, this is the approach where we are farmer focused, we are crop value chain focused, and we try to ensure that market meets farmers, market's demand meets farmers real life situation, right? Bridging that gap between market and farmers, it's something which is the approach that we have taken and is going right. So I would like to pause here and would like to take questions or anything that you want to ask.
Sure,
Or
sir.
Saurav, if you want to highlight me anything else.
Thank you so very much, sir, for the valuable insight. And you rightly said that it's bridging the gap of market and farmers. Now I will open the forum for the question answer round, please. Students, if you have any questions, so you can raise your hands.
I think God should bless us at least 200 years life to solve the problems, especially for agri entrepreneurs. It takes time to solve one problem for at least for next 15, 20, 30 years. It's a bigger cycle.
Yes, I agree.
So we do have question from Kota. Kota, you can unmute yourself and you can ask your question, please.
Yes, ma'am. Sir, from your experience, what qualities or mindset in freshers in MBA graduates make them grow with the agribusiness ecosystem, sir?
What Saurav just said, right? That you need to have mindset of building it over a long term, right? Uh, there was one thing, then there is one quote regarding I forgot by whom, but this is a sector which needs a lot of learning, which you have done in your institutes. Then when you are going to be a practitioner, it will also need a lot of unlearning from you, and then relearning. And all of these, right, need patience, need perseverance, right? And it needs your right intent. So with a lot of unlearning and relearning, right, you will see that, okay, you will grow in this sector, right? That's going to be your differentiator in a way that your career is going to progress, right? All of us who learn something in our classrooms, right? I was listening to the video by Pradyumna sir, right? And he was talking about the industry exposure, right? In a way, your limited industry exposure might have helped you in understanding that how much there you will learn when you are on the job, right? So having that tendency that when you are joining somewhere, right, your intent is on learning, and you're intending on learning a lot while you are on the job, that is going to be very important. um, no, what we have learned in our education institutes have actually prepared us to learn more in our career, right? So my message, or my at least suggestion to all of you, would be to carry that mindset, right, whenever you go and join an industry. Thank you. Thanks, Harish.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you, sir.
Yes, Dr. Deepak. Kindly unmute Dr. Deepak, please. So, Dr. Deepak, you can unmute yourself and you can ask your question.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you, Sweta ma'am. I just want to ask that sir has said they are currently doing the IPM food product supply and especially the spices. I want to know that how they check from the buyers either their products are free from any pesticide contamination and from whom they buy after checking which type of process they follow and how their value added products are being sent to the European markets.
Okay. No, so there are standard testing labs and certifications which we need to do to certify that our products are backed by IPM, right? Um, Especially in European markets, processes are all set. Right? What you need to know, these are all set, right? If you are sending your products organic mark, then you would know that, okay, for organic certification, what you need to do, right? If you are sending your product under global gap, they're like global gap certification, which needs to get done. Those certifications, those testing happens at multiple places in the value chain, right? It happens for farmers' fields also. It happens for your final produce also. It happens at various points of sustainable value chain. Internally, how we do it? So we have built a traceability tool. That traceability tool ensures that there is a right kind of visibility, right from what farmers are growing till from there to harvesting, to processing, to the entire logistics and supply chain, to final entry of port and delivery at port, right? So in the entire process, complete visibility is being brought with traceability tools. That's the way. Definitely, one practices are there. Then we create network of farmers, we train them, we support them, we provide them right kind of agri inputs, right? We have multiple touch points with them. So all of those things we do. But other than that, we also have use these traceability tools to ensure that right practices are getting followed, and then do testing and certification of products before it reaches to buyer. So buyer's requirements we gather beforehand in this. I hope I have answered your question, Dr. Devi.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Sir, what are the differences between the rates if we see the traditional practices which we are following with the artificial fertilizers or chemicals, and then you buy only with the certified organic producing farmers? How much the difference between it is at a double or triple in the rate fluctuations?
Unfortunately, agri is not an industry where double or triple margins happen. Okay. But yes, there are like better margins. Farmers get better prices, right? Mostly 20-30% better rates that they receive, right? If they grow for export markets vis-a-vis when they grow for domestic markets, I think realization to farmer is more than 30%.
Thank you for the answer, sir. Now we do have one question. We will be taking the last question due to the time constraint. Dipankar, you can go ahead with your question, please.
Thank you, ma'am. Good evening, sir.
I agree.
Sir, my question is, what are some of the biggest turning points or milestones in DeHaat's journey that accelerate its growth?
Thank you. So milestones, right?
Yes.
I think one of the biggest milestone for us was to achieve unit level profitability. Okay, for us, a unit means we call them as a node. We have an hub and spoke model. So we have a node which takes care of 1 to 2 to 3 districts, right? And within that node, we have our team, we have our infrastructure, and then there we work with 200, 100, 200 of our DeHaat centers, and we have like 10,000, 15,000 farmers network. So achieving that unit level profitability was a very big first milestone, right? That gave us the confidence that we can replicate it, and that gave the ecosystem confidence that these guys have the capability to ensure that there is a sustainable business model which can be made, right? So that's one. I think once that started, ecosystem has also evolved. We got a lot of support, we got investors, we got funding, we got all of those things. Things have started moving on our own. But I think the another milestone on that was building our leadership team, right? Which became very important for us to grow from maybe 100-member team we had in 1 year, and then 1.5 years we built 1,200-member team, right? So from 150 to 1,200 within 1.5 years was a huge leap of faith that we have taken, right? This was somewhere in 2019, 20 or 2020, 21, right at the time of COVID, right? So that huge leap we have taken, that was a big milestone to hit. That was two. That ensured scale, right? The kind of scale that we have grown. And the third milestone was recently what we have started doing, that I talked about value chain, and Saurabh also mentioned that not everything we can do, right? Which is true. And hence you cannot build all of those capabilities in-house, right? Lot of capabilities you need to partner. For a lot of capability you need to partner. So we have grown into a direction where if there is a core capabilities that we have to build, we go and find the right kind of partners. We do M&A with them, or we have hired a lot of bright individuals with small teams and brought them on fold. There has a lot of people in our leadership team who had been entrepreneur themselves, right? So we brought all of them under our umbrella. We have acquired companies, and we have successfully demonstrated that these companies, when we come together, we add more value, right, compared to what their usual path was. So I think doing that was another big milestone, which I would believe that will give us further impetus to our growth. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so very much, sir. And on behalf of ISAB, it gives me immense pleasure to thank you for your precious time and helping the student understanding about the topic. You truly bridges the gap between the traditional wisdom and contemporary expression. Through your creative initiatives, you continue to bring authentic rural stories, voices, and art to the forefront. So, your expertization has helped to solve many queries related to the topic value chain management and sustainability, and highlighting the points which you have covered and helped the student understanding was how agri value chain looks like. You have talked about the functionality and mechanism of DeHaat, and the process of how the process of evolution is important, the important consideration, the mapping of the gaps, the differentiations, and to create the structure of the agri-tech. Also, you have talked about the value chain management and the areas about like how the Indian food reaching to the global market, and what are the important things to be considered via the process, like the food processing, supply chain, the quality. Apart from that, sir, you have talked about the sustainability and about the emerging opportunities related to the cattle industries, the cattle studies. Also, how the digitalization is helping the grow things fast, about the LLMS and GNN, and to understand the how the things are helping to solve between the market and farmers. Thank you once again for your valuable insight. Also, I would like to thanks to our founder, sir, for his presence and to create the idea behind this interactive session. Thanks to the leadership team, chairman, sir, and director, sir, for the continuous support. And thanks to all department and the student committee for their efforts, and wonderful audience of teachers and students for the energy and active participation. Thank you, sir. And one session is not sufficient, and our students are already getting, the support and the guidance from you. Thank you once again.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak to all of you, and all the best for your future. Thank you so much.
Thank you so very much.